Well, Todd Landman is Professor of Political Science at the University of Nottingham and is here with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
We are climbing the mountain of political intrigue in the United States this morning, aren't we? Do you buy this interpretation by American intelligence services that Russia was behind this, and more specifically, Vladimir Putin directed it himself?
So I think it goes a bit beyond interpretation. I think you're looking at 17 intelligence agencies coming together in this joint report. The report communicates what's allowed to be communicated because a lot of the methods and techniques that they got the information are classified.
Well, that's the difficulty, isn't it? Because we don't see the hard evidence in the report.
Yes, and that, of course, a lot of people make a lot of hay out of that and say that, there's no hard evidence. A couple of key things from the report I think are interesting. One, that the interference didn't affect with the tally of the vote, and I think Trump is hanging on to this. He's basically saying, look, the counting of the votes was not affected, therefore I won fair and square. This had nothing to do with it. One of the things that's impossible to determine, however, is the degree to which public opinion had changed because of that intervention. And I think that's an interesting point as well to draw from this whole experience.
We don't know exactly what happened behind locked doors yesterday in this meeting, but what do you make of the way Trump and his team have dealt with this since the meeting finished, after this face-to-face with
Since the meeting, I think we've seen a bit of forward movement from the Trump team. They say, constructive meeting is a positive signal coming out of the administration. It is odd for a president to go on the offensive against the team that's now going to work with him. They need to brief him every day. There are 800 military bases around the world. There are constant briefings about the intelligence situation. The president needs to be briefed every day on what's happening around the world. And to dismiss that or disparage that in any way really doesn't show the maturity of office that I think American people deserve.
What is the end game for Vladimir Putin here?
Well, if you can influence world politics from behind your desk and from people working in the field in the ways that's already been proven in this case, then it's a win for him. And it goes back to that kind of zero-sum world politics that we saw during the Cold War, that a win for the Soviet Union is a loss for the United States. And now in the current era, a win for Putin is a loss for the United States.
But he wants to work closely with Trump. He wants to forge some kind of working relationship with him, doesn't he?
So it's not about Trump. It's about Hillary Clinton. It's about the liberal order. It's about international institutions. And to be able to attack that in the ways that he has done, among other ways, is a way of returning to that zero-sum thinking. So we're seeing a kind of a new paradigm, perhaps, in world politics, in which populist strongman politics is coming to the fore.
How damaging is this for Trump as president? I mean, every time he and Putin are seen on the same stage together, there will be that recollection in people's minds, even if we move on from this debate, that, was the hacking? Is he there because of him?
I think he needs to tackle it really quickly. I think coming out and saying there'll be a task force to look at hacking is the right thing to do. I think he needs to absolutely get it off the pages of the newspapers. It's going to be like Hillary Clinton's email scandal. It's going to be one of these things that could linger and fester for many, many years. And he wants to get rid of it now, and he wants to make sure that there's something that's being seen to be done to tackle future cyber attacks.
Todd, what about the UK perspective on all of this? First of all, British intelligence services, I think, assisted American intelligence, didn't they, in some ways in all of this? But also, the report has made it clear that this isn't necessarily just going to affect America, that it's likely that the Kremlin, Moscow, will be trying to use this influential power in other countries and other world events as well.
So all powerful governments do this. I think that's also an important point. So governments around the world are able to do this, and there is a kind of tit-for-tat strategy going on in terms of cyber and counter-cyber attacks. So it's not just a Russian problem. It's a way in which power is exercised around the world. You have military power, soft power, there's intelligence power, etc. So we shouldn't kid ourselves to think that this is only a Russian problem.
Right. Thank you very much. Todd Landman, who is Professor of Political Science at the University of Nottingham. Lovely to have you with us this morning.
Thank you
for your time.
Thank you. Properly this time. There was a bit of a mix-up earlier. We thought Todd was somebody else, but we're glad to have you back. Thanks for handling it so adeptly.
Thank you.